Hello, class. I'm going to touch base here a little bit on questions 4 and 5 from the test bias portion. So first, talk about question number 4. Um, it says bias questions and exams do exist. Do you think it's fair that the educational system tests students at all? Why or why not? If no, what would be a better solution? So, yeah, actually, I think tests are important. They are very important. We got to have them to measure where our kids are at, and also it's important for government funding, and measure how much each school is going to get, and measure what the progress and how they've been that school, each specific school has been learning and progressing. But what I disagree with is how colleges and other people they judge these high school students off just one test, and they make it such a big deal. And I don't agree with that at all. I think tests should be more along the lines of you know to learn and get better off of, and figure out where you went wrong, and where your weaknesses and where your strengths are, so you can work on it and get better on it, especially at a young age and teenager. So because especially with the ACT or the SATs, there's a lot of other factors that go into it. It's not just the score does not define you, and it's kind of frustrating when you do bad in it, and because of other various factors, and you don't get into colleges that you want, that you think that you deserve to get into. Some factors could be that they just are bad test takers. They're nervous. It's such a big thing, that is such a big test that you get judged on for the rest of your life. So obviously, people get nervous. Maybe something depressing or something more important happened in their life at that point in time. They didn't have time to study for it. Maybe they're just depressed in general. Who knows? But I know for me, it was about the time limit on the ACT. I knew almost all the material. I was very positive. I knew that I was smart enough to get a good grade or a good score, but I am a slow test taker. In all my other classes, and especially in high school, I was always one of the last kids to finish my test. I got good grades, and I always did well, but I just a slow test taker, and I over examine a lot of things. So coming to the ACT, a couple of my subjects I didn't even get to finish. Like reading, I only finished half, so my score suffered dramatically from that. And it doesn't really show that, oh, okay, he didn't even get to answer all this, but all the questions he did answer, he probably got 90% of them right. So I don't know, I think there's a lot of other factors, and I think a better solution could be maybe take one big overall, like a ACT kind of like test at the end of each year, all 4 years of high school, and try to progress off those and just get better each year, and not necessarily judge them for college and everything, but just necessarily kind of learn from it and see how you can progress and see where you're weak, and use that for next year to get better. Um, but on a lighter note, more lighter note, question 5 here. I got a good story for question 5. Um, so I was thinking about maybe like tests and exams from school that could have been biased, and then questions, specific questions. But first thing I kind of a bias exam I've taken recently I thought of was the DMV, the motorcycle driving portion of the exam, and uh, I think it was a content validity bias, because I went there with my Harley motorcycle, and my buddy went there with his crotch rocket, more of a street bike motorcycle. And the way that the course is set up, the cones are so close together, and you have to go a certain mile per hour, which is pretty slow, especially for a street bike. So when my buddy was trying to get through the course on a street bike, he had a very hard time getting through. He couldn't pass it because the turns were so short and you were going so slow, the radius on the street bikes, the turn radius on the handlebars can only go so much, and most of the turning is done by leaning when you're going fast. So the course was kind of just obsolete for the crotch rockets and the street bikes, but for my bike, more the laid-back cruisers, you can go slow and you can turn, and it was, it worked, and it was measured what it was supposed to measure for my bikes, but they need a better course for the street bikes and the crotch rockets, because they need to switch it up, because it's not the same kind of bikes and they're not built the same. So why would you test them the same? Just like us people and students in education. So, yep, that's my reflection for today. And thank you.